Okay, for years I've been using the term in the public interest. I started that in the 80s. Sometimes I get in arguments with people and lawyers. I was at quite a few times at Cook County Jail trying to help people understand what they're up against in court. And when I would go over the rules of professional conduct with the defendants, a lot of people would get mad. I was explaining to them effective assistance counsel, due process, how to get a fair trial, demanding a quick and speedy trial, so that way they don't exceed the limits, because they will. And if they do exceed the limits of a quick and speedy trial, then the case gets dismissed. But either way, some people would ask me why you're doing this, and I say in the public interest. The public interest, of course. Okay, legal obligations to act in the public interest generally require public officials and professionals to prioritize the public good over private interests, which includes avoiding conflict of interest, acting with impartiality, and maintaining ethical conduct. These obligations are enforced through laws and ethical codes that govern public service, journalism, and law, ensuring decisions are made for the general welfare and public trust than for private gain. Remember, politics and journalism, as well as the legal system. For public officials and employees, prioritize public good, place loyalty to the Constitution, laws, and ethical principles above any private gain. Act with impartiality. Do not give preferential treatment to any private organization or individual. Avoid conflicts of interest. Refrain from using public office for personal benefit, and be transparent about any potential conflicts. Conserve public resources. Protect and conserve federal property and use it only for authorized activities. For journalists, I've always had a problem with this. For journalists, inform the public. Work to inform citizens so they can make intelligent decisions and raise awareness of important issues. Maintain independence. Act on behalf of the public, not special interests. Act on the behalf of the public, not special interests. Strive for accuracy and impartiality. Base work on verified facts. Present multiple sides of an issue. Take responsibility. Be accountable for mistakes and take responsibility for their impact. For lawyers, pro bono work. The legal profession has a tradition for ethical call for lawyers to provide free low-cost service to indigent or public cause. Public interest law. Some lawyers specialize in public interest law, working to advocate for public good in areas like civil rights, consumer protection, and environmental issues. General principle: ethical decision making. When faced with difficult decisions, professionals should consider potential harm and ensure the actions are justifiable as being in the public interest, even if controversial. Okay, what is in the public interest? There's a lot to be said. Basic obligations of public service, which is often violated. I've been talking to people about that before. Okay. Basic obligations of public service. This has been violated on a continuous basis since it was written. The foundation of ethical behavior, Executive Order 12674, Thomas Jefferson. That's my guy. I love when I first started reading the Declaration of Independence back in 71. And the Constitution. I had to find out who, what, where, and why, and I came across this: basic obligation, public service, foundation of ethical behavior, executive order 12674. Thomas Jefferson enunciated the basic principles of public service. When a man assumes a public trust, he considers himself as public property. This sentiment has been expressed by numerous others over time, becoming the familiar principle. Public service is a public trust. Look up the public trust doctrine, people. To ensure public confidence in the integrity of federal government, Executive Order 12674 has amended forms a framework for ethical behavior required and expected of all federal employees. As a condition of public service, you are expected to adhere to these fundamental principles of ethical behavior. Public service is a public trust requiring you to place loyalty to the Constitution, laws, and ethical principles about private gain. You shall not hold financial interest in the conflict of conscientious performance of duty. You shall not engage in financial transactions using non-public government information or allow improper use of information to further any private interest. You shall not accept, pursuant to such reasonable expectation as provided by the regulation, solicit or accept any gift or other item of monetary value from any person, entity seeking official action from doing business with, or conducting activities regulated by your agency, or with interest may be substantially affected by the performance or non-performance of your duties. You shall not make no unauthorized commitments to promise any kind of purported to bind the government. You shall put forth honest effort in performance of your duties. You shall not engage in outside employment or activities, including seeking, negotiating for employment, that conflict with your official government duties and responsibilities. You shall disclose waste, fraud, abuse, corruption to appropriate authorities. You shall satisfy in good faith your obligations as citizens, including all just financial obligations, especially those such as federal, state, local taxes are imposed by law. You shall adhere to all laws and regulations, provide equal opportunities to all Americans regardless of race, religion, color, sex, including pregnancy, parental status, national origin, age, disability, family medical history, genetic information, political affiliation, and military service. You shall not use your public office for private gain. You shall act impartially and not give preferential treatment to any private organization or individual. You shall protect and conserve federal property. You shall not use it for other than authorized activity. You shall endeavor to avoid any actions creating the appearance that you are violating the law. You shall endeavor to avoid any actions creating the appearance that you are violating the law. The standards of ethical conduct for employees of executive branch 5 CFR Part 2635 of the DOI Supplemental Ethics Regulations. So yes, these are also violating laws, or ethical violations. Basic obligations. Just imagine if somebody enforced that, we wouldn't be under corporate rule. Okay, and that's what you're facing right now. A society or system that government is controlled by corporations. I mean, that's no secret. Wall Street controls the RNC and the DNC, and Wall Street aren't citizens. They're organizations from all around the world. What is corporacy in simple terms? Corporacy or corporacy is an economic or political and judicial system controlled or influenced by business, corporations, and corporate interests. Is corporatism democratic? Generally supported by national or social democratic political parties, social corporatism developed post-World War II period. That was the New Deal, influenced by Christian Democrats and Social Democrats in Western Europe, countries such as Australia, Germany, Netherlands, Denmark, Finland, Norway and Sweden. That's not in the public interest, folks. You're supposed to be a democracy. Is corporacy fascism. Corporatism became one of the main tenets of Italian fascism, and Benito Mussolini's fascist regime in Italy advocated for the total integration of divergent interests of the state for common good. However, the more democratic neo-corporatism often embraced separatism. Yeah, when Mussolini converted Italy into corporacy, eventually Hitler, and it was going on in the United States when Wall Street and politicians decided they were going to overthrow FDR. They were going to remove from office and install a colonel because they didn't like the New Deal. They didn't like the thing about Social Security, unions, 40-hour work weeks, and, there was a lot of stuff corporations didn't like that FDR was created and put in the public interest. Did it in the public interest, and it became part of the public trust, if you understand the public trust doctrine. Okay. Nothing but peace and love fit for you. May your Creator always be with you and rain many blessings. I wish you nothing but a long life and good health. Excuse me for not sounding so cheery today, but I've been trying to get some people to understand forever about the term in the public interest. In the legal arena, it carries a lot of weight. It's a mandate. Just encouraging you to look some things up and read it yourself. Use it yourself. Remember, anytime I mention in any of my videos in the public interest, I'm using a legal term. And you see it on TV a lot. I watch court TV, a lot of things about politics. I hear politicians screaming about the public interest, political pundits, people talking about the law, lawyers, judges talking about the public interest. But who is actually doing that? In government, public interest refers to the welfare, well-being of the general public and exists focus of policies and actions designed to benefit the community as a whole rather than any single private interest. It is a complex, evolving concept that involves balancing different, sometimes competing interests to make decisions that advance the good order and functioning of government society. For example, the government must balance the public interest in providing access to information against the interest of protecting national security. Key aspects of public interest in government focusing on collective well-being. Public interest is concerned with the best for society, including considerations like health, safety, and justice, rather than desires of a few individuals or groups. Evolving and contextual. What constitutes the public interest is not static. It can change over time based on social, political, and economic shifts. It is determined through the process like strategic planning, where community goals are identified, balancing and competing interests. Government officials must often weigh conflicting public interests such as environmental protections versus resources harvesting, or public interest in redevelopment versus inconvenience to local residents. Driving government action. The concept of public interest guides government action through laws, regulations, policies. For example, safety standards, consumer protection regulations are implemented to serve the public interest. Distinction from private interest. The key challenge is distinguishing the public good from the private interest of officials or corporations. Government employees have a duty to act in the public interest above their own private concerns. Advocacy and public interest laws. A legal context. Public interest refers to work to advocate for the rights of marginalized or underrepresented groups and advance social justice, often pro bono. Okay, keep that in mind, people, in the public interest. So, I mean, if you watch my videos, I have quite a few. A couple months ago, I had over 200 on YouTube. A lot of them are here on TikTok and other places, Facebook, Instagram, some other places. But I'm just trying to get you in the know. A lot of people have gotten upset with me. Why do I need to know this if they know that's their job? Well, if you don't know what their job is, they're not going to do it. And that's what all my videos are about. Their job descriptions, the penalties for failure to adhere to these job descriptions. You know. We see it on a daily basis, deprivation of rights. You can sue for deprivation of rights. You can also file a complaint. Well, several civil rights, there's several government agencies that have civil rights divisions that will not only prosecute but sue on your behalf. Just put in your search bar deprivation. Deprivation of right complaint form. Oh. Formal complaint for deprivation of rights can be made through civil rights complaint forms depending on the nature of the violations. These forms are typically filed with the U.S. Department of Justice Civil Rights Division, the FBI, or appropriate federal court depending on the specifics of your case. Filing a complaint with federal agencies. If a complaint involves a specific area of discrimination or type of institution, e.g. housing, education, employment, or appropriate federal agencies should be contacted. There's a lot of stuff you don't know, and won't anybody tell you. Okay, so you have a lot of questions you probably haven't even asked yourself right now, but you will eventually. That's what a lot of my videos are. Sometimes people ask me one question, I give them one of my videos, one of my posts, and that evolves into multiple questions, and then I wind up giving them other posts, and it's a never-ending story. Everything I post, all the videos, it's everything that should be happening that isn't, and that quite clearly shows everything that is happening shouldn't be. Not everything. All I'm doing is doing my best to open your eyes, to open your mind. I don't want you to believe me or anyone else. I want you to believe yourself. That's why I read these to you word for word, to the letter. And if I were an attorney, politician, lawmaker, in law enforcement, violating the letter of the law, penalties include fines, removal from public service, and incarceration. Okay, number of peace and love to you. May your Creator always be with you and rain many blessings. I wish you nothing but a long life and good health.